Hello and welcome to Melbourne Airport. We're out here at Operations Road catching the inaugural Latam Airlines 7879, which is going to be going off to Santiago in about an hour and a half. Super excited. It's been about 3 years since this has been in Melbourne, and we finally have our direct connection back to South America, which is fantastic. I'm your host, Matt, and we have set up just in time for the late morning departures. I hope you're all well, and it's great to be back out here streaming. Less than a week ago as well, I was out here too, trying to get things back in motion after coming back from the European trip. It's also a bit of an adjustment period coming back to Melbourne after visiting a few airports like Frankfurt and Paris. As we pan over here towards the right, down the end of taxiway Kilo, we got the United 7879, which is going to be departing off to San Francisco as UA61. So we're in the old livery as well. So starting off very strong here already with a heavy. I was trying to play around with a few settings. We had a few internet issues once again. Coming out here to Operations Road, it's a little desolate. So because of that, getting a stable internet connection can be a little bit tricky. It takes a bit of moving the phone around and to really just find that little sweet spot. And looks like we do have an arrival here on runway 34 as well. Just got to bring up trusty old flight radar. Looks like this is Rex flight ZL223 coming in from Brisbane. It's going to be landing here on runway 34. So those 737-800s are fairly new additions to Rex's fleet, and they're also going to be getting a few more as well. I do believe they have some plans to start expanding over to Western Australia, and they've just started direct flights to Hobart as well from Melbourne, so that's pretty cool to see. Great to see them expanding their presence and challenging some of the mainline airlines like Virgin Australia and Qantas on some of the bigger routes. So holding short now of runway 34, we have that United going off to San Francisco. Always a pleasure to catch this one. And Adam, you're absolutely right. It is nice and sunny here today in Melbourne. Perfect weather for this inaugural. Actually, it's kind of strange because usually when there's an inaugural flight, the weather is terrible. It's either raining or, or really windy. The sun is never out, but this time it's actually out. So it's great to see. We're going to get some really good shots of this. What a way to welcome it back. The 787 also landed this morning just before 5 AM, so it's back to its original times. And we're going to have to wait until the summertime to actually catch that one live on stream landing, because there's no way we're going to be getting out here before 5 AM. And Hayden already been a member there for 10 months on the A380 King class membership, saying, where has the time gone? No, seriously, where has the time gone? I can't believe it's already September. Like, it seemed like only a few months ago that the Avalon Air Show was on. It doesn't seem like it was 8 months. And that's right, Cloud Score. Santiago to Melbourne is back after 3 years of a hiatus. So that's the intention of this stream, to be able to catch a nice little shot of that for its first departure back. I think it's going to be a 3 weekly service from now on. And it's a shame it didn't go back to its very original times. When Latam first started flying to Melbourne, they were flying in at about 4:30 PM and then leaving at about 8:30. That was fantastic. You'd get it landing in nice light and then taking off right at golden hour. Perfect conditions. And here goes that United to San Francisco. certainly one of the best things about Melbourne is you can get right up close to the action, as you saw just there. Coming in now, actually, put that purple thumbs up in the chat for those members. We have the Bonza 737 MAX about to touch down here on runway 34. Haven't really caught too many Bonzas on the stream yet, so this is actually probably one of the first. Great to see another purple livery here in Melbourne as well. Definitely not the most common colour out there, particularly for airlines. I think the only other one that comes here with purple is Thai. And that was coming in from Toowoomba as AB 1066. So it looks like we've got a majority of runway 34 action at the moment, which is a little bit unexpected considering there is no wind whatsoever. I would have thought they'd be using 2.7 as much as possible. And also we've got a Cathay Pacific 350 there, and that's stuck there due to the super cyclones over in Hong Kong at the moment. And yesterday we had, I think we had 3 parked up, which is pretty cool. 2 777s and that A350. And one of the 777s took off earlier this morning back to Hong Kong. So I'm assuming the weather's gotten a little bit better over that end. On arrival now, we have a Jetstar 787 coming in from Ho Chi Minh City in Vietnam as Jetstar 64. One of the many flights that these 787s do. Jetstar have so many routes with these, I just cannot keep up with what they're doing. Like, they're all over Thailand, taking over Vietnam there. And they even fly domestically with them up to Cairns and then off to Tokyo from there. So they really go all over. And here it is, about to touch down here on runway 34. And hopefully that solves some of the buzz noise. Sometimes the camlink can play up a little bit. And Meredith becoming an Airbus A350 class member. Meredith, thank you so much for joining the HD Melbourne Aviation team and supporting the channel. I really do appreciate it. You've got now access to some of those exclusive videos that we post just for members only, and also some stickers as well that we use in the chat, like the purple thumbs up for Bonza. So I really do appreciate that a lot, so thank you very much. And I hope you enjoy the little perks that you get for becoming a member. And Jacques, absolutely, yep, it's great to see Latam back. Certainly has been a while. I can't even remember if they did stuff during COVID as well, because I know a lot of airlines were just doing some freight flights and all that. And that's awesome, Meredith says, so excited to see this live. You're set up where my dad used to take me to watch the planes well over 40 years ago. That is awesome. That really is. It goes to show you that it doesn't change too much out here. The only thing that changes is the planes. But it is certainly a great spot to view it from. You can see pretty much all the action from here. You can see runway 27 as well. Not the best view of it, but you can still see some of the arrivals. Like coming in now to runway 27, we have Qantas flight QA433, which is a 737-800, arriving in on runway 27. We can sort of see it flying over some of the terminal car parks there. And we can also see winter is on its way out. The heat haze is already creeping in. And we've got a pretty full terminal as well, with the Latam just tuning in there on the end. Next up we have a runway 34 arrival, and this is going to be Qantas flight QF678 from Adelaide. Pan over to the right here to get that. So the Latam departure is going to be about 12:30. I think that's the scheduled time of departure back to Santiago. It's going to be taking off right around the same time as the Royal Brunei does. And there's an Adelaide flight touching down. So a number of heavies there at the far gates. Of course, the star of the show there is that Singapore A380, which is only going to be flying here for the next month or so. I think at the end of October it switches out back to the A350, and the A380 will be used once again on the Frankfurt-New York route. Yeah, I heard the same thing. I heard it's going to be a very hot summer. So definitely not looking forward to that. As the heat haze out here especially is going to be horrendous. And Jonathan tuning in there from the UK, it's 2:20 AM. That is some dedication. Thanks for stopping by, really do appreciate it. And yeah, strangely, it's pretty well organized. Usually they just like to send everything on 27, but at the moment they seem to be sending everything from the north over here towards runway 34 and everything over from the east on 27. And good morning, Cam. Thanks for tuning in, mate. Good to see you yesterday. Next up, we have another 737 arrival, and this is going to be Qantas flight QF613 from Brisbane. Looks like in the far distance as well, there's another 3-4 arrival. I don't mind this format. If they actually use this a lot more, I'd be pretty content with it. It's so weird that there's no wind. Like, it is so quiet. The sock is floppy. And it's not even facing the right way. It's more facing towards 16, even if there is a little bit of wind. So let's hope they don't change. Let's hope they stick to the current runways that they're using. So next up, looks like we're going to have a little Dash 8 coming in. And this is going to be landing from Devonport. Oh, it looks like it did a missed approach on 2.7. And it's coming back around to 3.4 for its arrival. Second time lucky. It's going to be a Qantas Link flight QLK52. And not too sure what's going on with the noise. I will try and switch out the mics and see if that solves the problem. Hang on, we'll skip the Dash 8 so I can try and fix the audio. Let me know, is the audio better now or is it worse? I just had to swap some of the mics around. Maybe there was a faulty connection with the mic that I was using. I've always got a couple of backups just in case though. And the Latam wasn't scheduled for yesterday, it's scheduled for today. The first flight was the 1st of September over in Santiago, so it took off technically on the 1st over there, which is the 2nd for us. Perfect. Alright, good to hear, it's better. Alright, I'll remember not to use that mic again. Must be some kind of weird connection with it. It's so strange how on the stream it'll come up with a little bit of a static sometimes, whereas when you're just filming the 4K stuff, the mics work flawlessly. It just makes no sense to me. Perfect, alright. Glad to hear. And Meredith, yeah, sometimes you can pick it up a little bit more when you're wearing headphones, whereas on the TV, the little buzzing sound can sort of go unnoticed. And Kirsten, it honestly wouldn't surprise me. After what we went through over there in Europe, I counted every day like that it rained in some form, and it was 40 days out of 49. There was some kind of rain that I had to deal with. And of course, it's pretty hard to keep all the equipment completely dry while you're trying to film out in the rain. But I did my best, but it wouldn't surprise me if some of the water got into one of the mics. So it looks like we have the Virgin Australia 737-800 coming up towards the end of runway 34 here. And it's going to be flying off to Denpasar as VA91. Slowly making its way to the end of the runway, up to taxiway Kilo. And Brian, thank you so much, mate. Really do appreciate you hitting that like button. It helps out a ton. Best free way to support the channel and to help me continue doing what I'm doing here live at Melbourne Airport. So we're going to see if this 737 takes off before the arrival, as there is something lined up on 3-4 at the moment. Let's see, it looks like it's... I'm going to say it's going to wait. I'd say it's a bit too close. But double 737 trouble here. We have a Virgin Australia 737 from Perth coming in as VA678. It's going to arrive very shortly on runway 34. Great to see so much action here. Usually whenever you come out and it's runway 34, we just gotta have to talk for like 30 minutes while everything uses 2.7. And here it is on final approach now. And YAM official, I can quickly show you the Cathay A350-1000 that's parked up. It should be departing at about 2:30 p.m. I think the typhoon, or the worst of the typhoon, is now over there in Hong Kong, meaning that it's safe to fly back there. But it was pretty cool. It was looking a little bit like one of those remote stands in Hong Kong for a while, having 3 of them there last night. That's right, William. 737 trouble. A smart title, you could say. And oh sweet, I didn't even know that was flying yet. ANA recently painted one of their 777-300s into the Pokemon livery, but I still thought that was in the paint shop. It's a shame we don't actually get ANA here. I know Sydney now gets a double daily, even Perth gets ANA. So it looks like we have another runway 34 arrival now, and that's going to be the Qantas 737-800 from Perth, following that Virgin that landed just before. Yeah, not loving that windsock though. Not loving that one bit. That's a sign of summer. Absolute butter there. Could not agree more. Definitely need that ANA. Really would complete our Japanese carrier network. We do have Japan Airlines that flies here in the morning, so it really would be great to have a bit of competition there. And Simon asking for a cow in the paddock update. You know, they're actually, I saw them as we were driving by. They're not in a paddock that's visible here, which is definitely unfortunate because the cows were really interested in the live stream. I remember that day. They were coming up and checking out what was going on. And Rory, we're going to be streaming for about probably another hour and a half. We're going to get the Latam 787 departure, hang around maybe for a little bit longer, see what's going on, see if there's any arrivals or departures, then sort of wrap up from there. Not a very long stream today, just figured it'd be worth sort of catching that Latam on camera for the first time. as a lot of people on the last stream that I did were requesting it. And it looks like that 737 just butted in and took the runway from that Virgin going off to Denpasar. And yeah, Air Canada have stated that they do want to return to Melbourne. They haven't really locked in any dates or any schedules just yet, but it will definitely happen at some point. And looks like we have a Jetstar A320 arrival here on runway 34. So much action I can barely keep up. Virgin Flight 91 is starting to enter runway 34 for its departure. About to embark on its 5-hour journey up to Denpasar. And this is one of the very few international flights that Virgin Australia do out of Melbourne. The others being Fiji, some places in New Zealand. I'm pretty sure they fly to Auckland and Christchurch. And aside from that, that's really about it, I think, out of Melbourne. So it's going to wait there for a runway 27 arrival, and then it'll be off on its journey. And Zach, thank you so much. Really do appreciate that. Always try to keep it as smooth as possible. Simon, do not go there. Do not start with the puns. But I do think they were moved by my presence and moved along to another paddock. The farmer who manages them must have realized that we're doing a stream today. He doesn't want to get his cows famous. Oh, okay, so VA only flies to Queenstown. I swear they did Auckland, but I must be remembering it wrong. Nonetheless, good to see them over there in New Zealand. And Queenstown as well is such a beautiful place. The mountains, the scenery, very, very picturesque. And it looks like our next heavy has made its way out from behind Terminal 2. That's going to be the China Southern 787. Going to be departing off to Guangzhou. Melbourne Airport in the morning certainly has gotten busier since China has opened again for tourism. So we've got a pretty consistent stream of about 3 Chinese carriers every day with Xiamen, China Southern and Shanghai Airlines. And then we also have additional services, but not every day, from Sichuan, Capital Airlines, and We should be getting Tianjin soon as well. I think Air China also flies direct from Beijing, but a lot of these also arrive in the afternoon. They sort of, they're dodging the morning rush at the moment. I know that the times for the slots is a lot more expensive in the morning versus in the afternoon. And arriving here on runway 34, we have another Dash 8 Q300. Great to see so much 3-4 action, and also something to enjoy while it lasts. Now that the winter season is starting to come to an end, we're going to be going towards the summer period where mostly it's going to be runway 16 operations, which is definitely less favorable. You can't get quite as close up to the action as you can when they're using 3-4. So there'll be a lot of those summer 16 departure streams from Terminal 4 coming up. But until then, we can enjoy some of the views from Operations Road. And it looks like this 787 has that special livery as well, that little decal on it. I do really like the livery that they got on the 787s for China Southern. And really do wish, while the 380s were around, that they applied even just one of those A380s with this livery. Would have looked fantastic. Particularly from this spot here, like the thumbnail would have been pretty cool. Oh, and there you go. So the A380 is going to be returning to Narita. That's fantastic. So they're going to be up to, what, they've got Emirates, they've got ANA, and then they've got Singapore Airlines as well. That's great. And I think I saw as well that the orange ANA is going to be flying again as well. Or not even again, like it's going to begin flying. I don't even think it's had revenue services just yet, because they got it during COVID. So definitely Narita is worth visiting again. Awesome to see a variety of different China Southern aircraft as well. Over the years, they've definitely been sending us quite the variety. I think they started with 777s, and for quite a while they're using the A330s and even the A350s as well. And now they've finally settled for the next 6 months at least on the 787s on the Melbourne route. We've pretty much got everything except for the 777-300s. So hopefully one day. But as far as I know, they get around far less. Like, I don't really see them too often. And look at that. From Sasha there saying, love the close-up, very clear camera quality. Thank you very much. So we've got our next heavy coming around the corner there. This is going to be the Jarman 787, which I think is going to be departing off to Jarman as MF804. That's going to be coming all the way around, just like the China Southern did. That's definitely the best part about Melbourne. You can really get right up close to the action. And we can see the star of the show, the Latam 787, is being loaded up right on the very end there, on the far left. I really do appreciate that, Meredith. I always try my best to get it as smooth as possible. And really appreciate you tuning in there, Simon. Hope the physio goes all right, and if you are interested, make sure to tune back in for the Latam through the playback. And Rory, there's going to be no plans for Sydney for a little while, particularly for streaming, but maybe towards the end of the year I can fit something in. Got a very big trip coming up to the United States. So until then, probably going to rest up, get everything ready for when I go. Lots of forward editing is going to be needed to keep the channel up and running. And then we're ready to take on some of the big airports like New York, Los Angeles, San Francisco. Finally going to get some updates on a few of those. And there's also going to be a bunch of new ones as well. Finally going to tackle Phoenix, Arizona, which has been an airport on my list for years now. I've been wanting to film there, and every time I've gone to the States, there's always been a reason why I can't go there. Or there's just never enough time, and there's always something that's probably just a little bit better at the time as well. And also going to be finally getting up to Portland, which is another one of those airports that I've been really wanting to get to, but just never have had the time. And it's sort of out the way as well. It's quite far up north compared to where I usually go, San Francisco. But finally dedicated some time to covering it, because the car park spot that they have there, the parking garage, is absolutely tremendous. And Rory, no, definitely not going to be streaming in the United States. Pretty much just going to be getting 4K footage only. For the time being, really just going to be streaming around Australia, and also going to try and do a stream in New Zealand at the end of the year. But doing the streams overseas in Europe was already problematic enough, and I know the US, with a lot of their different carriers that you need for internet, is always going to be a problem. And also getting a plan as a foreigner is incredibly difficult. Like, you always get like the tourist low data plans, no hotspots. So it's probably more of a headache than it's actually worth. So we've got that Jarman 787 coming up to taxiway Kilo. This is one of 3 daily morning flights to mainland China, complementing China Southern and also Shanghai Airlines. And sneaking up to the end of runway 34, we have the Jetstar A321 Neo. Gonna look where that's going in just a moment. And looks like it's going to wait for a 2-7 arrival. But this A321 is going up to Cairns as Jetstar flight JQ940. It's about to embark on its 3-hour journey. One thing I definitely do love about the Neos is the orange that goes under the belly and onto the tail. I think it's a really nice touch. Definitely adds a lot to the Jetstar livery. Because you can see the older ones, which are over here. There's a bit of yellow, bit of orange on the belly, but that's really about it. So having it wrap all the way up, I don't know, it just makes it a little bit more unique, a bit more eye-catching, particularly at sunrise as well. Like when you got that really crisp orange light, it stands out quite a bit. And Zach, not too sure exactly when I'm going to be streaming next. I try and pick nice days or when there's something interesting that's going to be happening, like the Latam inaugural, and more or less just go from there. But I usually will post a update the night before streaming about the time and when it's going to be going live. So we can see Latam still getting loaded, and on the right of Latam, that's the Qantas flight to Singapore, which really should be taking off now, but we can see the back door is still wide open. So not too sure how much longer that's going to be delayed for. And Jacques definitely do sound good. To me, they always sound like a more tame G90. And there's so many times when you can just hear it in the distance. Like actually this morning, I was up at Jellybrand Hill, which is quite distant to the airport and focuses more on runway 27. And you can sort of hear the departures in the morning when they're taking off on 3-4. And I think I got tricked twice, thinking that the Jetstar A320 Neos were 777s. Because I was waiting for the Cathay to take off, and you can't quite see the takeoffs until it's a little bit too late. So you've got to know they're actually going. And then and then when I thought, oh yeah, it's just another Neo, that's when the Cathay actually did take off. So I didn't actually catch that, but definitely sound very, very similar. And Kirsten, that's right, it's on Aussie time. So it's definitely going to be a bit late. She'll be right, mate. She'll be right. But definitely would be good to see the A380s back on that route on a more permanent basis. The 787s are great, but I mean, I think Singapore deserves a 380. And especially seeing it as well, like it was so, it's still very Sydney centric with the 380s. That's definitely the main base. And I think as well they're looking at doing the 380 flights from Johannesburg, which I thought Melbourne would get the 380s before Johannesburg flights went. And looks like just passing in front of those international tails, we have the Qantas Embraer E190. hopefully coming all the way up to the end here. That would be real nice. Because we've got two different taxiways that the aircraft can depart on when they use 2-7. And they can depart on Kilo, which is all the way at the end where all their heavies have been departing. And then we've got taxiway Juliet, which is definitely not the view you want. If it's going to go to Juliet, it's sort of going to turn around there, like it is now. And it's quite a bit further away, backlit, so you really want to come all the way to the end. And the Melbourne to Los Angeles flight isn't quite an A380 permanently just yet. Only in school holidays they'll send one down for a few weeks to upgrade it because of the high demand. But I think in October they're supposed to be on a permanent basis back on Melbourne to Los Angeles, which is going to be great. So pretty much returning back from the US in October, going to be coming straight back out here for the streams to catch the Qantas 380s. And it's more or less going to replace the Singapore ones because Qantas are going to start the 380s and Singapore is going to ditch the 380s. And there goes that little E190 from Qantas Link. And nice cam, must be pretty close by then. And really do appreciate that. Glad it's providing a bit of entertainment while you have your dinner. And that is a great question. I've got no idea. I don't think it is. I think they're keeping it on Sydney. That's really about it. It'd definitely be good to get one though. I know they were operating here during COVID, but it was all cargo flights. I'm not too sure. I'm pretty sure the 777-300 would have the capacity, and the ability to do the duration between Melbourne to San Francisco, or they might have to weight restrict it because it is a very long flight. It's about 14 and a half, 15 hours. But ironically, it's not even our longest flight here. The longest flight out of Melbourne's the Dallas flight that Qantas started last year. I'll tell you what, I don't think I could actually do it. I don't think I could sit on the Dallas flight. It's about, I think it's 16 and a half to 17 hours. That really would be a backbreaker and a neck breaker, and I couldn't even imagine how taxing it'd be on your body. Like, I think around the 4-hour mark, I start to get a bit fidgety, and start being like, okay, when am I getting there? And adding 13 extra hours onto that, I don't know how I could do it. And looks like departing off runway 34, we have the Virgin Australia 737-700 going off of Juliet. And these are going to become more and more common as I think Virgin are buying them from KLM. And I always found that really weird. I remember they ditched the 737-700s years ago, and they left maybe one or two in the fleet. And they were supposed to go as well, but they never did. And now they're getting more back. Like real interesting business plan there. And there goes departing north. And that was Virgin Australia flight VA267 off to Canberra. And looks like they're closing the door there on the Latam, meaning it's going to go pretty soon. And also on that Qantas as well. Also due to leave, we have the Shanghai Airlines 787, which has still got the air bridge attached. So I wouldn't expect to see that going within the next 30 minutes. I think it did arrive pretty late as well. Pretty much while I was setting up the stream, it just came in. And Michael, the Latam 787 takes off at about 12:30. So hopefully it's on time. Usually the inaugurals are. They try their absolute best not to delay those. Unless you're Jetstar. I remember all their 787 inaugurals have been delayed in some form or another. And Zach, I'm using a Sony RX10 for the main camera, and also using the Satchler Ace 1000 as the tripod system. Great combination when paired together. Get some really, really good results, and the RX10 is incredible. Pretty much the perfect spotting camera. It comes with about 600mm of zoom. You know what, at this rate I should probably be the ambassador for the RX10. Maybe they can service it for free. And that Qantas Embraer that took off before, I think it was going to, it's either to Townsville or Canberra. But I'll double check. It's going to Townsville as Qantas Flight 1988. So gotten a bit quiet here on all fronts really. Even 2.7 there's nothing much happening. Which is weird because usually when it goes to dull you just look over to the east and there'll be something there. Oh, and Sam, I don't even know how you do that. 16 hours from Sydney to Vancouver. Yeah, that's when you start getting the clots in your legs. You get, what is it, deep vein thrombosis. Like you'd have to start walking around the cabin and doing stretches just to survive that. And absolutely, very high quality. I know as time's gone on, I've progressed more into getting the Sony equipment. Started out, I think, with Nikon, then went to Panasonic, and now Sony is just my go-to. Everything Sony. And good day, welcome to Melbourne. Tuning all the way in there from Mexico. That's fantastic. Hope you enjoy seeing some of the traffic we get here on the other side of the world. And looks like we have I think that's a 737 that's come out from Terminal 1. It's going to be departing here on 3-4. Based on where it is, it looks like it's going to be taking Juliet though. And you got some good taste there, Sasha. It's got to be Sony. And if anyone from Sony's watching this, happy to be the ambassador. And good idea. Let's get a poll going while there's not too much happening. Alright, which airline are you most excited to see returning back to Melbourne? Two of those have expressed interest but haven't given firm dates yet. And Aircalin has said they're going to start flights back up in December. Me personally, I'm a Tangent kind of guy. I'm always going to go with Tangent there. I don't think there's much that comes to Melbourne that could beat the Tangent. And departing off runway 34 now, we're going to have the Qantas 737-800. This is going off to Sydney as QF440. And good day, Dylan. Thank you so much, mate. Really do appreciate that. And glad you managed to catch one of the streams. I know they're very, very sporadic. I don't really have too much of a schedule with them, so they can be pretty hard to keep up with. But appreciate you coming in and watching what's happening here in Melbourne. And Zach, I used to have the Panasonic VXF995, I think it was. I love the Panasonic, but the Sony just had a much better grasp on stabilization for panning. A lot of the cameras, the built-in stabilization can be very, very, like, it sort of flicks, because the idea of it is the lens kind of moves with what you're tracking, what you're trying to focus on, and because of that, if you move a little bit too fast and the lens can't actually move with it, it's going to flick back to its neutral position. So it gets really, really tricky to work with, whereas the electronic stabilization here on the RX10 is just phenomenal. It's exactly what you need when you're panning faster objects. So that's pretty much why I've moved over to Sony, and even some of their other cameras as well, like I think the AX53, the CX900, AX100, like all these cameras have like fantastic stabilization. So they really have figured out a great way to do it. That's really my main reason, because everything else with the Panasonic was great. Like the one thing that Panasonic definitely did better than the Sony RX10 is the colors. Like the colors are always just slightly off of the RX10, maybe a little bit too purple, a little bit too blue, whereas the Panasonic would really nail it every time. And arriving here on 2.7, we have a heavy, and it's going to be the Jetstar 787 coming in from the Gold Coast. If the camera would focus. There it is. About to touch down there on runway 27. And push back as well, we have Qantas flight QF35, which is going to be heading off to Singapore. Shame it's not wearing one of those special liveries though. That would be great to get that right up close. But nonetheless, good to get another heavy on the stream. It's been pretty busy as well. We've had already about 4 heavy departures, which for Melbourne standards, we'll take it. And definitely, Dylan, if only Adelaide had just a few more heavies. But by the looks of it, it is getting a little bit better. I think Malaysia's now daily there. And what about Cathay Pacific? Have they decided to restart flights? And Ant there with a $2 tip. Thank you so much, mate. Saying the United 777 will be coming on the 28th of October to Melbourne. Oh, wow. All right. A nice little upgrade for the summertime. Thanks for letting us know there, Anth. Really do appreciate that. And thanks once again for the tip. I really do appreciate it. I think also as well, Air India is talking about sending the 777s to Melbourne on the Delhi flights. That would be good to get before they repaint them in that new livery. But I think India is definitely a very big market that the Australian airlines and also the Indian airlines haven't really tapped into. There's quite a few large cities in India, and the population, the Indian population here in Melbourne is quite large as well. So it's going to be great to see that sort of expand over the next, I'd say, decade or so. So we should see some pretty big growth there. But I think Air India is also going to be launching the Mumbai flights very soon as well, out of Melbourne. So it's all starting to take place. And we have on runway 34 a heavy arrival. This is going to be Scoot from Singapore. Slowly making its way over. And don't worry, they're going to be good as well. If there's any Antonovs down in Melbourne, we're all out for it. But yeah, A380 diversions, that's surely not common there. Surely not. Especially now that there's way less A380s going your way. Because I remember back a few years ago when Eddie had the 380s like to Sydney, Melbourne, Qatar had it to Sydney, Melbourne, all in the evening. Whenever there were storms in Sydney or storms in Melbourne, like they would go straight to Adelaide. But now I think it's only the Qatar that goes to Sydney. So here's a Scoot 7879 completing its 6.5 hour flight from Singapore. And we can see as well the Jetstar from Cairns is making its way over there to, I'm guessing, Terminal 2. Oh, no way. Looks like the Qantas flight to Singapore is going to be using the short taxiway. That's kind of unexpected. That's going to be QF35 off to Singapore. One in from Singapore, one back out. That's how they do it here. It's kind of like relay. And no idea about that. They have no immediate plans to bring back. But you never know, they always update their schedules every 6 months. So at some point, it'll probably return on the night flight, knowing Singapore. We'll do the 217 and 218. Very long takeoff roll on that one. Almost like it should have went all the way down the end. And that's sort of the hope. I really do hope, since the slots got rejected. I mean, they only really have one option, don't? Oh no, two options really, but the best option is to send a 380 back here. That's the best option, because I don't see it being feasible to fly a 777 through Canberra just to get access to Melbourne or Sydney. Like, especially since they're doing that with Adelaide already. Like, you'd think they'd just be bleeding money at that rate. And no idea, Anth. All I know is it's going to be 3 a week. So I think they're going to start with that and see how it goes. Because to do daily, they've got to dedicate 2 planes for the route, whereas if they do 3 a week, it's just the 1. So it looks like it's all loaded up there. We can see it on the left-hand side. Should be departing in the next 10 minutes or so. So definitely going to be good to get that. Unlike the Qantas from Singapore, it's got no choice. It has to come all the way down. It is going, I think it's flying like what, 12 and a half, 13 hours to Santiago. So it can't pull any dodgy moves. It can't go to 2.7. It has to come here. And with the way the wind's going as well, I don't really think 2.7 is going to be in play for too much longer. Starting to get very, very northeast. Yeah, one of the best things about this spot is you've got like direct access to the windsock, so you know exactly what's going on with the wind. So yeah, it's facing us, and 2.7 is the opposite way, so I mean, only a matter of time before they give up on that. But of course, before they give up on that, we got the Fiji A330 coming in on 2.7, coming in from Nandi as FJ935. Good to see so many heavies back as well from Fiji Airways. Because I'm pretty sure for a couple of months they were sending just the 737 Maxes. And now I think it's a mix of Maxes, A330s, A350s, pretty much anything that they can send us they're sending. I think they just got a new A350 as well, which is like where the extra capacities come from. So now coming up to runway 34, we have a RE-737, which is going to be departing off to Canberra as ZL616. Of course, not going to come all the way up for us. Going to be taking the shorter run, taxiway Juliet. That's it, Hayden. No 2.7. Honestly though, a petition for runway 27 to only be used for narrows, I'd definitely be behind that. I'd be the face of that petition. And always, Cam, if Air New Zealand can go to 27, they will go to 27. They got some kind of treaty with them. And there you go. Rex is really trying to squeeze their way into the market and trying to outprice Qantas and Virgin. It's really cool to see, like, there's such a price war going on. And Rex is really stimulating a lot of demand because they're making the prices fairly affordable. Like, people can justify the weekend trips. All they need to do is start flying to Perth, because right now the prices to Perth are ridiculous. Like, I was trying to search some last minute tickets up, and you can pay upwards of $1,000 just for a couple days in Perth. And good day, Sydney. Thanks for tuning in. And looks like we've got that Air New Zealand. Wait, is that coming to runway 34? Either they just rejected takeoff, or that's coming our way. Oh, well, you know if that's coming 34, then 2.7's no longer in operation. That's pretty much a guarantee. And yeah, I seriously don't understand, like, how could it be so expensive? Like, there's plenty of competition on the Western Australia route, plenty. There's even other ways to get to Western Australia, like Proserpine, I think that's what it's called. But I'm so confused how they keep the prices so high. And there we go, looks like All Blacks is coming our way. That's what we want to see. And then it takes Juliet. Like, even with Air New Zealand, even if it comes down 3-4, it still has a chance to ruin you. So we just got to hope the pilots are feeling nice and friendly, and they want to help us out. Honestly, Janine, I would probably just drive around. There's no way I'd fly anywhere around Western Australia. The prices are exorbitant. But the one cool thing is you do get to fly on the Fokkers, which are becoming pretty rare around the world. Alright, so far so good. It's on the further taxiway, meaning it can go up our way. It should go up our way, you kind of hope. I mean, my faulty logic behind this, it's a big plane, it's a 777, go all the way to the end. Just in case. I know it's only going 3 hours away, but, you know, it should be on principle. All the big stuff comes to the end. Alright, we're sort of getting to the point of no return. If it keeps going straight from here, we should be good to go. And in all honesty, this is going to take the cake for me. I'm not even going to worry about the Latam once, if this goes all the way to the end. Come on, keep going, keep going. I don't like how slow it's going. It stresses me out. It's pretty much there. If it turns right now, we're in trouble. Just gotta keep going straight. Okay, I think we might actually be good. feels like Christmas morning. Going all the way to the end here, we're going to have that All Blacks. We're going to get nice and close to G90s. One of the loudest engines probably that comes to Melbourne. Oh, absolutely. Biting my nails, pulling my hair out. The stress was getting too much. And even one of the Embraers is coming down to the very end. That you don't see often either. Some weird ATC on today. I don't know, there must be some new guy on shift. Like, he doesn't know how Melbourne works. Like, I'll give him the Melbourne 101. But basically, Air New Zealand always goes 27. Embraers always go to Juliet. And all arrivals go to 27 if there's the option. Because today's really been weird. Like, there's been so many arrivals on 3-4, which you wouldn't usually see. So whoever this guy is, I'm going to buy him a coffee. I think he deserves it. And Jimmy, not too late at all. The Latam still hasn't even pushed back just yet. So it's already running a little bit behind schedule. And Dylan, you're just good luck there, mate. You should pop in more often. Pretty much since you came in, everything's been going right. Should have came in just a little bit earlier for that Fiji 330. Alright, so you see what's happening here. And this is just my opinion. This isn't official or anything, but what I think's going on is the Air New Zealand pilots are arguing with the ATC because they're lost. They've never gone to this side of the airport before. They're just always on 27. They've taken a wrong turn. They were supposed to go to Juliet and they kept going. I think they're arguing with the new guy on shift. I think that's pretty much what's going on here. And you can't change my mind. But it does look like the 3-4 switch has happened. Coming in from the east, looks like we have something flying past the windsock there. And that would be a 2-7 arrival if it wasn't all 3-4, so we're pretty set. We'll see if the camera actually focuses on it. It's another challenge. Alright, we can sort of see it in the back there. Looks like a 330. Wheels are already down. It's a bit far out for that. I'm really unsure why the wheels are already down, and have been for a while. But here we go, it's going to make a very sharp right-hand turn as it starts lining up for 3-4. This is probably one of the coolest approaches here in Melbourne. And particularly getting a heavy on it, it's not as common. This is going to be Qantas flight QF437. It's an Airbus A330-300 coming in from Sydney. Black is making its way towards the end of the runway here. This is going to be NZ124 heading off to Auckland, New Zealand. Long roll on that 777. Good to see. Explains why it went long. And there we go, we've got that Latam 787 finally pushed back. Operating that inaugural service, and the entire reason we're out here. That New Zealand is just a nice little bonus. Lined up and ready to go on runway 34, we have Qantas flight QF1862. And there's a little Embraer E190 which is going to be heading off to Canberra. Just awaiting its takeoff clearance now. Probably waiting for... Actually, what is it waiting for? There's nothing on the runway. It should spool up at any moment. There we go, heading off to the capital of Australia. Looks like the little E190s are taking over a lot of the 717 routes as they're being retired really, really quick. Pretty much one a week is like disappearing from the skies now. At least that's how it feels. Every time I log into Facebook, there's always another one that's been retired. But speaking of 717s, we have Qantas flight 1599 from Newcastle coming in now on runway 34, and this is one of the 717-200s. Definitely going to be a sad day when the T-Tail Classics are all gone. Oh, I thought for a second it was wearing the Tassie Devil livery. Next to depart on runway 34, we have this Virgin Australia 737. And it looks like it's off radar for the time being. Oh, there it is. It's going to be taking off to Adelaide as a Virgin Australia flight VA223. Yeah, Adam, I'll stay out for that one. It's only another, what, 20 hours before it lands. That's fine. We'll just hang out. And there goes that flight to Adelaide, embarking on its 45-minute journey to South Australia. Looks like no movement yet from Latam. Still just sitting stationary just in front of Terminal 2. And we'll see if there's any other heavies that have pushed back as well. I know Brunei should be going fairly soon. Was meant to go about the same time as Latam. But you know Brunei, it's either on time or very late. So I think we'll give it to about 1 o'clock. See if we can get that Brunei as the last plane of the stream. And yeah, just a little quick one today. Definitely thought it'd be worth it to come out here for that Latam, which is now making its way over towards the end of runway 34. We can see it on the left-hand side of the screen there. I think they still have one of the 787s in that old livery as well, the Land Chile. So definitely be keeping an eye out on that. It'd be great to get a few shots of that departing during the day. And Hayden there with a $5 tip. Really do appreciate that, mate. And Hayden saying, when I was staying in Kilo 4 months ago, I didn't need an alarm clock. The Emirates 380 was the alarm clock. Definitely one of the noisier ones in the morning. Especially when it's taken off on 1.6, it just rips over Kilo. But I'd say it's much more pleasant to wake up to the 380 over the droning sound of the alarm. I know this morning I hit snooze about 5 times. Had the alarm set for 5 and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get up early, make a coffee, try and wake up. Ended up getting up at about 5:45. Janine, there is a very easy solution to that. You just fly over the water below Australia. Just do a big loop underneath, particularly from Melbourne. That'd be real easy. As long as the 330s are ETOPS certified, should be fine. All airports are within 60 minutes. Departing off 3-4, we have the Rexarb off to Mildura. Taking the full length as well. And Latam's finally making its way over there, slowly but surely being held up by all those narrow bodies. Next up to depart, we have, surely that can't be right. It's going to Adelaide as QF2196. I did not think they had Dash 8 go direct from main cities. There you go, waiting takeoff clearance from Taxiway Juliet. They're really just getting them out now, as quickly as they can. Our next departure is going to be the Qantas 737 to Brisbane as QF614. Always a pleasure when they decide to use just the one runway. And the best way to get over the fences here is either having a ladder or even a tall vehicle. I see a lot of people standing on those, including myself. Best way to sort of get over it, because there's really no other way. There is actually one more way, but I wouldn't really recommend it. But I've seen people standing on the fence posts in the car park. But apparently that just gets over the fence too. And there goes that 737 embarking on the 2-hour journey up to Brizzy. Goes. Sparing no time at all. We have another departure here from Virgin Australia, lining up there on Taxiway Juliet. This is going to be heading off to the Sunshine Coast as VA 1037. And no. No, I don't see, there's no one out here At least where I am with a handicap and a ladder. So up towards the north of the, the south of the airport here, we're going to have the Latam finally making its way over. Already about 20 minutes late. Off to a great start. And looks like as well we have the Shanghai Airlines 787 on pushback. Which will be departing as MU738 off to Shanghai. I know it's a puzzle. Where would Shanghai Airlines be going? But I think the weirdest thing about Shanghai Airlines is the fact that they're operating for China Eastern. So it's all under China Eastern titles, it's all under their flights. You book through China Eastern, but you get Shanghai Airlines. And it's not, I don't even think it's a subsidiary of China Eastern either. Like, it's just, and it's been like this for about 10 years. It just makes no sense whatsoever. But one of the good things about that is it's pretty rare around the world. Like, you don't actually see the Shanghai Airlines 78s in many places. The only place I can really think of is Singapore. And I think Hong Kong gets the 787s on occasion as well. So that's definitely a nice little highlight down our way. Just like the Royal Brunei 787s. So the Latam is second in line. Taxiway Kilo, we've got that Jetstar A321neo, which is going to be holding it up for a little bit. And there's also another Jetstar A320 coming down our way as well. I guess the short one's a bit full. And with any luck as well, that Bonza 737 MAX will also come up our way. There's quite a bit of a line there at the other taxiway, so we might get lucky, maybe. Arriving on runway 34 now, we have the REC 737. And that touchdown there from Sydney as ZL101. You can see in the back there, a bit of Bonza action. So the one that's pushed back is going to be going to the Sunshine Coast, and with any luck will be coming down our way. But I think there's a bit of a backlog there, so I can't actually get out of that particular choke point. And we've also got the Air India 787 there that didn't take off a few days ago, so I think it had a bit of tech issues, but meant to depart a little bit later this afternoon. Oh, that's awesome. Hayden saying just over 200 likes. That's a fantastic effort in under 2 hours. Great to see, particularly for just this little short stream that I thought I'd pull off. and definitely plan to do a lot more of these like shorter streams as well. If I've ever got some time, there's a nice little takeoff rush. It's always worthwhile. And looks like the Brunei 787 is on pushback as well. That will probably conclude today's stream. We'll get the Brunei, we'll get the Latam, we'll get the Shanghai. We'll try and get the Bonza if it comes all the way down our way. And that's a good way to end. And the way I'm recording with the tripod on the car is I've just got a roof rack. So that prevents the roof of the car being damaged and gives me a fairly safe surface to be standing on. But it can be a little bit shaky for the tripod. The car suspension can sometimes take a beating in the strong wind. Got that Bonza heading up as well. If it does come all the way to the end, that's the first time I've seen Bonza do that. But by the looks of it, it's joining the queue. That's not coming our way. Look at that. It's gonna it's gonna be waiting there forever. It's like 5 things just lined up there. With no movement. There's no landings, no takeoffs. Definitely a new guy on the block. Yep, so they're doing a runway inspection. God knows why. But we can see the little emergency cars going up the runway. So that's got to hold everything up for the next couple of minutes. And Michael, you can't really see too much. I got a big umbrella in the way, but that's more or less what you can see there. The umbrella blocks everything. I can definitely tell, like, the sun's got a little bit of a sting today. The laptop would not love it, so I've got to keep that protected. And the phone as well. The phone would not love it. Like, my phone overheats if I just go on YouTube and I'm on a phone call at the same time. Or if I go on a phone call and go on Facebook, overheats and starts freezing. So being in the direct sun is a big no-no. Alright, there we go. They almost completed their little runway inspection. I've got no idea what this guy's driving with on the back of his ute. What is that? With the speed he's going, you'd think that'd snap off. And it looks like Shanghai Airlines as well is making its way up towards the end of runway 34. If you guys are enjoying the stream, do make sure to hit that like button. It does help me out a ton, and it's the best free way to support the channel. Hayden said just before we hit over 200 likes, which is absolutely phenomenal, and I appreciate every single one of you who have hit that like button, which will help the YouTube algorithm determine whether the stream is of high quality and will recommend it to other like-minded aviation enthusiasts. And who wouldn't want to see the Jetstar A321neo departure? I know I sure do. And this Neo is going to be going to the Gold Coast as JQ440. There we go. Just had to open flight radar. Looks like they're going to clear the traffic on the other taxiway first before starting with this one. But the backlog's definitely building on this one too. Got the Latam, Jetstar, Shanghai, and we've got Royal Brunei speeding up towards the end of 3-4. And Jimmy, thanks for tuning in, mate. Really do appreciate it. Hopefully you enjoyed seeing some of the morning rush here at Melbourne. Yeah, this is definitely looking like Heathrow camp, definitely. This is as close to Heathrow as we're going to get. Go, the inaugural Latam service. So I'm pretty sure it's operating 3 times a week for the foreseeable future. Melbourne Airport is looking wild right now. Even down this end, we've got 4 things lined up. We've got lines everywhere. You really don't see this too often, even on windy days. It's usually bad weather that causes this because they have to have a bigger break between each departure and arrival. So we're going to grab these last 2 heavies that are banked up on the end of runway 34 here, and then we're going to call it a day. A successful day at that. Perfect weather, perfect lighting, perfect everything. Not too sure what they're waiting on though. There we go, Jetstar's powering up. Pringle says there's a Qatar in 10 minutes. Should we stay for the Qatar in 10 minutes? Easy, alright, we'll wrap up after the Qatar. Like, how can we resist? It's another heavy coming down 3-4. Perfect light for it, let's do it. And looks like they're going to be clearing some of the backlog down there on taxiway Juliet. Got that Bonza sneaking up over there. On runway 34, we have an arrival. This is going to be Virgin Australia flight VA324 coming in from Brisbane. Going to pan over there to the right. Look at that, absolutely perfect lighting. Perfect. The way it's going, the Qatar 777 isn't even a choice. Might come in even before these 787s actually depart. Mark, really do appreciate that, mate. Definitely some great shots today. The weather has been fantastic. It's great. One good thing about it, getting towards the warmer part of the year, is that we do get more days like this. Only downside is the runways are never that good. And Pringle's there with a $5 tip. Thank you so much, mate. Saying awesome, such great content. Really do appreciate it. Always take a lot of pride in that, and definitely worth hanging around for that Qatar. I think definitely worth it. I can never say no to one more plane. And looks like the second Bonzo is coming out from the terminal as well, which is going to be heading off to Rockhampton. Fingers crossed that that comes all the way up north. But the way it's going, I think it's going to go straight down to Juliet like the other one. But Pringles, definitely we're going to dedicate the Qatar 777 to you when that comes in about 5 minutes' time. In the meantime, we have Bonza flight AB at 10:31, which is going to be heading off to the Sunshine Coast. So put that purple Bonza thumbs up in the chat. And we can't, we have to get Shanghai. They're really churning them out fast. They're sparing no time at all. So clearly the new guy in ATC is being told off for creating the backlog because he's wrongfully put everything on 3-4, and now he's trying to solve the problem. So onto the end of the runway here, we have Shanghai Airlines MU738, which is going to be departing off to Shanghai, China. Just waiting on that takeoff clearance. The Qatar shouldn't be far as well. Should be flying downwind of the airport now. And this is one of those odd flights that they do from Adelaide, trying to bypass some of the restrictions that they have flying into Australia. And Borgie, nope, probably won't be live streaming on Tuesday. The weather looks pretty bad, and also the traffic's a bit ordinary on a Tuesday. Not too sure exactly when I'm going to stream next, but I'll keep everybody posted when I know. I usually know about 24 hours out. And yes, Bonza is a fairly new airline. I think it started just earlier this year. And it's a budget airline, and they're basically trying to tap into some of the really untouched markets like Melbourne, Rockhampton, and all those kind of places, and tapping into the more touristy places like Sunshine Coast, as opposed to doing what the mainline airlines are doing, which is connecting the big cities. So we've got Royal Brunei lined up here on runway 34, waiting to enter the runway for its departure off to Brunei. It's going to be operating as BI6. This is probably one of the coolest airlines we get here, simply because it's not seen in too many places around the world. Generally, you will see the Royal Brunei in London, Dubai, Hong Kong, and even Singapore as well. But aside from that, Melbourne is the only place that Royal Brunei flies to in Australia. And even less common around the world as well as the 787s, so it's quite cool. And there goes that 787, beginning the 6-hour journey over to Brunei. And Wendy joining the Airbus A320 class membership program. Wendy, thank you so much. Really do appreciate that. Thank you so much for your support. You'll have access now to some of the cool little stickers that we got in the chat, just like the purple thumbs up for Bonza. We've got the SQ Whale, Milk Run stickers, you name it. So thank you so much for your support, and I do hope that you enjoy the little perks that you get from the membership. And yeah, I've heard the Turkish Airlines plan to come. Not too sure exactly when that's going to happen. I think Turkish Airlines have been have always said they've got intentions to come to Australia, but when push comes to shove, they never like actually commit to anything. But hopefully this time's different. I think this time it's a little bit more solid than the talks have been in the past. And we've got here the final departure of today's stream. It's the 737-800 Virgin Australia. And our last catch of the stream is going to be that Qatar 777 coming in from Adelaide as QR989. Here it is, about to touch down on runway 34. And there we go. What a great morning rush that was, heading into the early afternoon. We got that Latam, even though it was a little bit late. But that actually worked out even better because the lighting, as the day goes on, gets better and better. So the 40-minute delay really did help getting that sun towards our side. But it has been an absolute pleasure live streaming here at Melbourne Airport. Not too sure when I'm going to go live next. Might even try and do tomorrow morning from the T4 car park. Weather looks sensational, but we'll see how that all goes and whether I do commit to that or not. But in the meantime, thanks so much for joining. I hope you enjoyed this short little live stream to celebrate Latam's return to Melbourne after a 3-year hiatus. It's great to be able to say that Melbourne is connected to South America directly once again, and hopefully Latam do well here and we can get more flights. In the meantime, hope you all enjoy your Friday. Have a great weekend.